Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Zwift Community Live broadcast of the Zwift Racing League. We're into week number 3. This is going to be the America's East that you are joining us for, with the Women's Division 1 as well as Division 3 for the men, and we'll be highlighting the Division 1 for the men for the America's East. There's so many high-end teams. The women have just got on course. They are 1.8K into their race so far. The leg snapper is going to be coming at them real quickly here on the Innsbruck ring for 3 laps, and then to the top of the Queen of the Mountain for all of the points. Well, not all the points, but a whole lot of points. A lot of points out for grabs out there. I'm Nathan Garrett. Dave Toll next to me. We're Zwift Community Live. And let's just jump right into real quick analysis here, Dave, because we're going to try and get down to the racing pretty quick.
Yeah, so 37.2 kilometers of racing on what is going to be known as a favorite course for many racers. If you're fit and you can climb, this is what you're looking for. You mentioned the leg snapper. This KOM after party is 5.5% for 7.4K. It is really quite a finish. There's no doubt about it. We've seen the best racing we've seen in a long time here on the Zwift Racing League. This group is going to be phenomenal. This Women's America's East, I've said it before, and I'll stand by it. This is one of my favorite categories to watch race. They always deliver the goods. And Nathan, so much to talk about with the details. There's a tremendous number of points on the Innsbruck ring. We do 3 laps there. That's 8.8K. But these sprints, they're long drag race sprints. Here's a good look at the course. Actually, you can see 37.2, the total distance in kilometers, 23 miles. But when you make this 8.8 kilometer circuit, the leg snapper has destroyed some of our fields. We've seen some pretty small groups hitting the bottom of the KOM. That third trip up is the one that does the extensive damage. But then here is the story. As you make the climb up to the finish line, it's not a steady climb by any means. A punchy climber with that will to win can make hay on this course. Nathan, this is a racer's course, no doubt about it. Great thing is, at that finish line, every winner has had to go all the way, completely deep, to find the last watts.
100%. And really, it comes down to when it comes to the climb, getting set up well as the sprints, though. It really does. I mean, it does come down to, on the day, a team game at the end of the day, because it's going to be about what team pulls the most amount of points in both the sprint sections you would talk about, as well as the final climb over the top there. So we'll see how that ends up playing out. Let's just go ahead and jump right into it, though. The women are 3.7K in, and this is going to be Division 1A that we're looking at. We've got some top teams in and amongst here. Let's go ahead and take a quick look at where things stand. In the lower left-hand corner, you'll be able to see the women's current standings here in just a moment for this current division. And it is going to be the Finesse Rockets at the top, Dave.
Yeah, and that's even a surprise. Well, as you can see, it's tied, but based on the most recent performance from the Rockets, they've got that coveted number 1 spot for today. A lot will be on the line out here. So, Nathan, these are 2 absolute monster squads. It's interesting when you contrast them, because Finesse Rockets, I'm not going to call them the new team on the block, and in no way do I want to be disrespectful, because they've got riders like the super strong Catherine Monks. Paige Bolt has pretty impressive numbers, 4.7 watts per kilo, but Tara Freder has been, I would have to say, is she a new mom, a former professional cyclist, but who's clearly re-energized or redoubled her efforts. She's putting a 4.8 watts per kilo number up. But one thing I've learned about Tara is she is a fighter. So you look then at Sarah's the Pros Closet. This is Anna Russell's team. She's a colleague of ours, a wonderful ambassador for esports and Zwifting, professional triathlete from New Zealand. And man, has she got a band of all-stars around her. She's got race 1 winner, Claire Cameron from Canada, Christina Grossman out of New York, who's been a great story and is a tremendous sprinter. We're going to be watching for her today for sure. Megan Rathwell and Ackerman on this team, S. Ackerman. So this team has a lot of experience. That's the yellow and green. And Nathan, even if you didn't do your homework coming into season 2, you would have thought, oh, well, they're no doubt the team to beat. Well, they're still in that category, But things have changed with the Finesse Rockets really stepping up. That's just a look at a couple of the teams, because I haven't even mentioned Cryogen Gallop in a super strong squad sitting in third right now. Waddy Inc., Super Kitty, sitting in fourth, and they're at 33 points with 32 points for Sisu I Race Like a Girl Do. But they're on a roll right now, Sisu I Race Like a Girl. Look at this, Nathan, here on the leg snapper. They're already having at it. And it's going to be another raid. Another raid. That is 4 riders from Sarah's to Pro's closet here. This is their patented attack, and they're doing it again. Let's see what kind of damage they do, Nathan, as they make this hard right-hand turn at the top of the leg snapper. They have strung this field out.
Thrown here from Sarah Pros coming out of France. Wonder if she's on America's soils right now, if it's just a really late night for her to ride for the team. She's going to be layering out Cameron. Coy there sitting on the wheel. Grossman, I think her job was to follow and sit on the wheel as best she can. We'll see if she can get into the super tuck here to hold on, because I got a little bit of a secret pro tip that it's going to be all about the sprints, I think, for Grossman, and as that really is her forte here. I think they're going to be putting her in the perfect position to try and grab these sprints, and they do have a little bit of a gap in making. This is a very smart move from Stars to Pros Closet, because they are making Finesse Rockets work to get their way back to the pack here that they have kind of formed up front. And if Perone, wow, this is so incredibly smart from Anna Russell and crew here, because they're putting people on the front to burn matches and force a chase to try and bring something back for a sprint where you would usually expect things to come back naturally. Instead, they're willing to sacrifice some of their riders at this point to set up Christina for a perfect sprint, allow some of their other climbers to just sit in and make it happen later in the race. Really amazing job here by Stars Pros Closet. But somebody else that I would definitely want to pay attention to here is in this blue kit here that was able to follow alongside of these moves. And that is is that going to be Agawatt? That's in the blue kit here.
Agawatt?
I'm wondering.
Well, so Caroline Bouliot is one of the riders there for Agawatt for sure.
No, so Agawatt's in the black kit. I'm wondering. To be honest here, Finesse Rockets are using the blue kit, so Monks was able to go along with it. So that was my mistake there. Rockets were able to follow along, but they were the only ones to do so here. Early feather power up. Not sure this is going to get the jump she was looking for. Grossman right on the wheel. She only has the draft here. Let's see if this ends up playing out. Grossman with the dropout. The worst situation you could possibly see here. Will they wait up for her as Grossman is gone now at this point here? Christina, what is going to happen with her as the Rockets sweep the podium at that point? The perfect setup for Sarsa Pro's Closet, and now a flat tire on course.
Unbelievable. Stunner of bad luck. Christina Grossman, who we've spoken of in many broadcasts. She is out of New York. We know her for her love for the greyhounds, the rescue dogs. That is such a bummer. To tell you, you could not have come at a worse time. So all that hard work there from Sarah's to Pro's Closet, it all comes down to some type of technical. Let's see how we're going to recover. So, Nathan, life is all about what you do when you get served lemons, right? And let's see. Boy, that is, I don't know if you could find worse luck timed more perfectly from the devil there. So let's go back to what we've got now. Bizarre. This is, if you are a race fan, go let your other race fan friends know, because this is some incredible bike racing that we're witnessing. As I was mentioning, America's East is just phenomenal. So we see an unbridled aggression from Sarah's to Pro's Closet. They did the same thing at Richmond reverse. So this is their MO. But the team that can stand up is Finesse Rockets. Now we start taking inventory and looking around and see who else is here. There is an Agawatt rider there at a minimum. This group is starting to, I think it might be closing the back door. I don't know if anyone else is going to join, Nathan. At this point, there is another chase group, so always going to be pulling for them. But I think we might be looking at a group of about 25 here. Start identifying the riders that have made the move.
Yeah, post here from C2I Race, like, girl now is made it. Good to see. And that's a great household, actually. And loving to see her in and amongst this crew here. Most likely going to be having Mr. Sweet next to her. And that is actually the last
best
name there.
Yeah.
That is actually, I'm not just saying her boyfriend's really sweet. I'm saying actually.
Yeah.
But sitting next to her and cheering her on, they are awesome, and they trade off between the what they race. The one races east, one races west, at least from what I've seen, and scream in each other's faces essentially to get it moving and stay on the wheels. So it's an absolutely awesome situation there in that household. Always good to see. Agawatt, great shout out to them there, Dave. New kids on the block, and be on the watch out for them to really be making a statement. They've also started streaming as well. I've actually noticed a lot of posts in the last 24 hours or so from Sar's Post Closet. They've got a post out just today from a ton of their pro riders now live streaming over on Twitch. I saw Agawatt there saying that they had a YouTube stream out there today. So make sure to go check out where those are at. We definitely over here at ZCL tend to push people toward the Twitch platform to get the most benefit out of that, as well as for the community tools that are there. But if you do have them out there, people are starting to pay attention, you can tell. And it's really great to see that forming around the community with the whole showing off what their perspective is within these races. I think that's a great thing to give people ideas of what that suffering looks like. And also, that's really the reality of how esports have grown.
I couldn't agree more, Nathan. I love that. I actually tried to boost that post. So that was Whitney Post that you were talking about. This is a lifestyle person, again, someone who just really gets it. Much like Jessica McWhirter, I'm looking to see who else is here. It was an Agawatt racer, Nathan. So I think we're flipping first name with last name. Well, I'll get it for you. I think it's Jess Schaunkheisen that we have up there, but we'll figure that out for you because okay, let's be clear. Anybody on your screen right now has already been through the ringer here. That first trip, and we got another trip coming up for you, and then one after that up the leg snapper, which is 430 meters. So that's the distance, not the amount of climbing. That number is more like what they get at the end of the race, almost. But 6.9% is the gradient of the leg snapper. So Isabel, I'm starting to figure out. So Isabel Villiot. So I just figured out the pattern, Nathan. Sorry there of how they're listing their names. That the first name is following the last name initial. You see what I'm saying? That's the Agawatt rider that we have there. Just want to identify these women because they really are the gladiators of the road. Anna Russell is up here. She is the director sportif, one of the very few athletes who has the ability. I can't think of too many, Nathan. There's a few for sure. I'd put you in that category as well, would have the ability to race at this level and still have the wherewithal to direct the team, not the mental power as well as the physical power.
Somebody's telling dad jokes. Finesse Rockets are telling mom or dad jokes. Monks is being silly now. I absolutely love it. She's hanging out here at the front saying,
very strong rider herself. When you talk about Monks, another name that has stood out from this group, and now having a sense of humor is nice to see.
She's got no idea. Idea. Great job there, so Catherine, Nathan, keeping everybody laughing at this point. And also at the same time, if you're able to tell dad jokes at the front end of a bike race at 179 beats per minute, you're kind of letting everybody know you've got a few watts to work with here. So a little bit of a shot. The rest of the crew here, Anna Russell is super fun. I mean, like, has a great time during the broadcast. Great time when it comes down to like all of the fashion police going on here. She's obviously going to have her orange headband on. Amazing. But I get the feeling though, when they get on the bike, things change a little bit for Stars to Crow's Closet. It's head down and it's kind of to get down to business time. They like to win. I mean, and I'm not saying anything different about Finesse Rockets, but I get the feeling that Stars is kind of, and also they just lost a rider to a horrible technical. And I think at this point, they're kind of just like, okay, Monks, you just wait. Because we're about to go off here on this next leg snapper. We got a plan. And Rockets, I think they're following. They because you saw how they followed that move, and they kept him within distance. That's for sure.
Absolutely. The Rockets more than stood up to that assault from Sarah's the Pro. And Nathan, I love that assessment. I mean, I think that right there, it's pride. So I think that Sarah's the Pro's Closet tried to throw a bit of a stunner there on the first lap and got it slapped back. And unfortunately, part of that was bad luck with Christina Grossman. And I'm unfortunately unsure right now if Grossman was able to get that technical sorted out. But obviously, once you leave the group, it's her bike fell off the trainer. I'm getting a message right now, Nathan. You know what? I hate to say it. I don't make that kind of power, right? Christina Grossman, that was right at the beginning of the throwdown there. And when she just made that huge watt bomb effort, the bike came off the trainer. Bummer. Well,
Ooh.
at least we know. I always feel better knowing right now. And Christina, our thoughts out going out to you. That's a bummer. I know how much hard work she's been doing. You know the best thing, Nathan, about the ZRL is there's another race next week. That's absolutely the best thing about it.
Yeah, no, I mean, on the bright side, the lemonades of it is she doesn't have to climb the Queen of the Mountain after sprinting after all those times. So
But she
there's that
wanted to.
reality.
That's the bummer. You know
I
what I mean?
don't.
She was up
I
for
think
the
she wanted
fight.
to. I think she wanted to sprint is what she wanted to do, and then just rise
She
to the
wanted to get
top.
the team
So
30 points.
yeah,
She wanted
30
to show,
points,
just like
100%
Charlie,
there.
so our friend Charlie Eisendorf in the Zwift Insider and Eric Schlang does a great. I hope I'm pronouncing his last name right. I'm not sure if the E
Schlangy.
Schlangy. Okay, good. So Eric Schlangy does such a great job with the Zwift Insider. It's a go-to resource for sure. And he was talking with Charlie, or I heard Charlie's name come up because Charlie's the guy that helped choose this course. And the fact that a strong team, much like Sarah's the Pros Closet was trying to do, could split the squad, have some riders go for points, other riders save it for the climb. I loved that that was something that was going to be in play here today. And we were witnessing it until the bike fell off the trainer. Bet you that freaked out the Greyhounds, too.
Probably
Andy,
freaked
the
out
long
Christina.
doggo.
So to the front of the race though here
Freaked out
now.
Christina, too. Good point.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
is going to be. Let's just reset here though. Egawatt finesse. That's where things are at. With Egawatt finesse, Sars the Pros Closet are still involved. Wadi Inc. Live is also in here. We also have Cryogen Gallop, and there's one team we haven't spoken a lot about. They do go under our radar once in a while here, but Cryogen, I would not count them out especially in an FTP race. Watch out for Cryogen. We've seen them in the punchier climb situations. It'd be interesting to see what they can pull off in this kind of a Queen of the Mountain, 17-minute, everything you got to the top or so. Now we are heading into the second leg snapper, as it is going to be Stars Pros Closet to the front. We're going to see if that threw a little bit of a wrench in some of their plans here. It is going to be Megan Rathwell to lead things initially. 7.3 watts per kilogram, a little bit of momentum here coming from Russell now to the front with the headband. And has she done, I mean, is this exactly, well, looking pretty good. She's got the Mavic.
She looks
With
great.
the,
What do you mean pretty good?
I mean, the red and
I-
the yellow, though, that's just not. I don't know.
Well,
The
she is
matching.
obligated, obviously, with Team Kit. That's not her call, but I'm with you. So this is
Whoa.
one
The
of
red is
fashion
not
forward.
needed. Do you have to have red? I don't know if that's, is that a, like,
Well,
can you even
true.
change that? I don't know.
I'm trying to be a positive colleague here, Nathan.
No.
I see what
Sorry,
you're saying.
no. Anna Russell gives it to everybody. She don't hold back. Okay, she
not
gives
hold
it
back.
to
All right,
everybody.
good.
She gives it to
Good.
everybody
I
to
don't
the
wanna get
point
on
that
her bad side.
one team the other week literally dressed completely mismatched just to get back at her, okay, and said, look, we're going to do what we want to do. And it was a great time, actually, because of it. They went to the other extreme to say, we are the fashion police. It was what they were trying to say. So I'm going to get on that and be like, look, a little bit mismatched here, with your GQ going on, Anna. So I don't know, sure we're playing by all the rules, but good to see the headband. Jane Fonda's doing a good job, probably giving the right exercise directions at this point. So headband's on. Nice job, Anna. She's made the lead group at this point. Cameron trying to get back involved. Laura there also from Egawatt, 1 second back, but the split is here. 3 seconds. Jessica and the rest, they need to get into a super tuck as soon as possible. They don't even have 57. There it is. 2 seconds up. Not sure it's coming back, Dave.
This is some bike racing right here, folks. Not many categories have it this exciting through the Innsbruck ring. Nathan, I wanted to highlight another rider here. You were mentioning Cryogen. You got to look at Alana Brady today on that team. She absolutely is going to be a part of the final conversation. This was my tip coming in today as Tara Freder out of Ohio here is a super strong rider. If you've been watching the broadcast of this category, we've talked about Tara and her experience. boy, they are pushing so hard. So sprint here, again, these super valuable points scored 10 deep, and it's going to be Coy first, Ariel Coy here. It's going to so Stages Cycling making their mark. I love seeing this. This is the team of C. Harris Mosman, Nicole Jursic, Paisley Sheehan, an old friend of the family, Rachel Plessing as well on that Stages team. A lot of these riders out of Colorado, although Paisley is up in Montana now. They're doing a good job picking up top points at that bonus sprint. And our friends at WTRL, who do such a tremendous job, have added so many wrinkles into the racing here, turning it in for far more than a scratch race. It's a scratch race with the points race inside of it. And a hill climb championship today we've added in. So let's take a look at how things settle out now.
Real quick, let's do a quick little highlight here into the men's Division 1A. Real quick there, just jumping into their first climb up and over the top of the leg snapper here. We do have, interesting enough, I saw Jordan Rapp actually hammering away, former employee of Zwift, now over with Apex Legends actually, and Respawn is taking up a job over there within the recently on the Zwift class, talking about what he's passionate about and what was happening over at Zwift, some insider information in there. Also, Kieran Lewis here from the ZHQ Rockets now making their way over the top. So this is the situation currently within here. We'll make sure to keep on coming in with highlights from them. We also do have the men's Division 3A as well. They're heading their way over toward the same section out on course. So we'll jump back in with the women here momentarily, though. Just a quick little update on how things are playing out now, as it looks like so one thing that I'm seeing for a question now that is coming in from socials, and it's a great question from Dan Connolly here, and he's saying lots of Z1 bikes out here. Is that the best bike choice here? I think I'd take it just because I'd be afraid of getting dropped in the lap. So my take on bikes when it comes to racing, the sentiment in the community seems to be, well, what's best for everything? And I am totally the opposite when it comes to racing, especially racing something that's like a road race, because the times that the race is lost are very crucial moments. It's not lost when you're sitting in the pack. It's not lost on your general average. It's not lost on your normalized power. It's lost when it's go time. It's a 1 minute, a 5 minute, it's a peak power moment. And you better be on the bike that's going to get you through that section the fastest you possibly can. If you're there for the sprints, you're going to throw down on the fastest flat section bike that you possibly can that's got a good pickup. If you're there for the climbs, you're on the lightest bike you possibly can, and you just hang on and float through the other sections. Really, this all-arounder thing, it's try, and I'm shooting right at some of our talents here, other commentary. I'm saying, hey, I don't know about all this. The all-arounders idea, You want something about the dynamics of racing. Racing is dynamic, and it's about those specific moments when the race is won or lost.
Couldn't agree more. I would even put it this way, right? What is the perfect tool for the finale? Because that's where the race is going to be won or lost in my mind. So my thought would be get through the less ideal sector of the race on the non-perfect bike and then have your climbing machine, because, again, that's where you're going to win the race. Now, that might not be you, however. When we were talking about Christina Grossman earlier, some riders are going to be going for those sprint points out here as well, and won't be so, the bike for them isn't going to be the difference maker on the climb. They're going to be riding to try to get 12th place or a top 15, something like that. There's horses for courses. That's so important to remember in this. So there's a previous winner, Claire Cameron, in the Canadian, in the middle of the group right there. Do some inventory on this group, and it's nothing but AA grade quality racers that have made the front group. Zach Nair, Zach, thank you. Tremendous job on the article about our friend Martin. You can see Velo News talking about Thursday's team time trials. Nathan, that team time trial revolutionized esport racing without any doubt. And now WTRL is a huge part of the ZRL, the Zwift Racing League, as we're into season 2. I just saw Catherine Curie commented on the race, cheering for her team, Sisu. I Race Like a Girl, Nathan. How about that, right? And Kristen Kolchinski was in earlier rooting. Two of the top three from the Premier League are watching this race, cheering on these women. That's what Zwift community is all about. Here's a sprint coming up again. Our
Speaking of
first one
near, the
for the
new
guys.
next team,
Jack,
there's
get up there.
14 watts per kilogram. And Zach not only knows how to write about esports, it looks like he knows how to ride them as well, taking down the first sprint on the day.
Beast mode and Next, the two most exciting squads that we've got in racing as of this new season. Just they're breaking through for us. Beast mode was phenomenal, Nathan, today. And Next, same thing. I did hear that we're not going to have the pleasure of Ashton Lambie racing with us this week as he's just relocating to higher altitude, but we'll have
look
him
at this.
back.
Maybe something changed.
Good. Sometimes the information you get changes hour by hour. Great, Ashton. This is a World Pursuit record holder, American Olympic. Well, he will be a great star for us.
They're not going to chase. Look at this. They're not going to chase. Near's up ahead. Next, they're going to shut it down behind.
They're sitting on this group. Yeah.
Look at this. Look at this. So wow. Near's made this happen. CCNS is pushing the pace a little bit here. Messier's there as well. T3 Philly. Do they want that to go away, though? Like, really? I don't know.
Well, for a while, for the points, I think they're okay with it. Right? So this isn't all day. Well, maybe not. It looks like it's going to come back anyways, I think.
It'd be interesting. There's certain teams that wouldn't mind letting that roll. Next, so in that situation, if Next would have jumped across with like the three riders here, they would all communicate and said, let's get across without pulling this group up, throw down 9 watts per kilogram real quick and try and make something happen. You know? Would have been interesting to see if they would have pulled that off there, but looks like not going to happen. One rider going, though, saying, look, if you're not going to, Griffin says, I'll go alone.
I'll go.
Here we go. But he's only 3.5. Everyone's just looking at each other. That's what's really going on here. Nobody wants to work. This is weird, kind of. This is kind of weird, though. Like,
so this is your classic Mexican standoff right now, right? No, everyone's like, you go. No, you go. You go. No one wants to really bury themselves. And it looks like, so Next, again, is one of the new teams that is really spicing up the league. They're the jalapeno in the chili right now. No doubt about it. So they're out on 3 laps for them on the Innsbruck ring right now. Griffin's going to come back into the group, and we're going to let things settle a little bit. But you can see there's a split here between these two groups. Does the whole thing reset, Nathan?
Looks like it is going to. All coming back together
too.
Here. I mean, full reset. Look behind here even.
Yeah.
Interesting enough to see.
Well, and that's bike racing. That's bike racing for you. Classic example of there's going to be some surges. That's why in America, speaking, that's where America's East we're racing now. I realize it's a worldwide audience, but we don't watch the first part of the bike race very often, that first hour. Sometimes if you're watching the international feed of the Tour de France or Giro or Vuelta, you'll see that, but not often do you see the first hour. And for us in esports racing, that first hour really is the first 5 minutes that sometimes you might miss, but is so aggressive. These races are notorious for their starts, Nathan, and especially when teams are learning the technique of how you can't win the race in the first 10 minutes, but you can lose it for a whole bunch of other riders.
I'm going to go ahead and head on over back to the women's race here as Cryogen makes their way to the front of the pack. We also have some updates on the points here. We're going to start getting an idea of where those are starting to stand after the first time through. It looks like we've got at the top. Interesting here. Give me just 1 second here. We got a couple of.
While you're doing that, James Eastwood just commented that he agrees with you, Nathan. James, thanks for all you do for the sport out there. Tremendously supportive.
What is James doing awake? James is hanging out awake at this time just to hang out and watch the broadcast. I love it. Great. Thanks for staying up, James.
They had a really
Catherine
nice
Monks,
ride
19
earlier
points. Kaylee Boyle, Ariel Coyle, Paige Bolt, Tara Cole-Freder. There, you mentioned that name from Finesse Rockets. Not only with a solid FTP, but it looks like she's grabbing some points as well.
Hey, look at Whitney up there. Good for you. And Alana Brady, we talked about. Oh, these are the heavy hitters, as Joanne Perron with 6 as well. So these points get thrown into the kitty for the teams here. But that's an interesting look at the riders. So they've got, Nathan, correct me if I'm, no, they should have one more sprint here on Innsbruck Ring.
Yeah, one more sprint, and
So
then they're going
more
to be heading on
points.
over to the Queen of the Mountain. Interesting enough, there is no Egowatt I can see there on
There is,
that
though.
overall. Is Koi going to be? No, Koi's not from
Oh,
Egowatt, is she?
no, I'm sorry. I thought you were saying in this group, and I was going to say, oh, there is. But you're right. No, not where you're
No,
looking.
so I'm wondering if either they're just getting caught out from an experience point of view, don't have the watts, or if they're saving everything for the climb. If they really have the confidence that they're going to try and take things down on that climb and just following wheels. It'd be interesting to know
Who is
whether
the
or not
rider
they've got the
surging
power
here?
for it. It's gonna be Anna Russell.
It looks like,
She's just
yeah,
mad that the
Anna out of New
commentators are
Zealand.
making fun of her when it comes down to it. She says, "No, the fashion is all here with the pedal power at this point at 8 watts per kilogram, 423." You can see from Anna Russell here. She's got a gap actually. This is a cool move. I like this move. It's gonna force this smaller group to make a chase. She gets a little bit of what prone actually though.
The
This is nothing
technical
but
term,
really interesting. They might just back off at the top
they're
if she gets
sitting up
enough
now.
time.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I guess you could call it that. This is not a Watt bomb. This is a Watt grenade being lobbed right now by Anna Russell. And her team, Sarah's the Pros Closet, they're champing at the bit right now. I was mentioning, watch for Brady, the cryogenet rider, sitting fourth, fifth wheel right now in the white and blue. Outside of Fredder, she's my other pick to keep an eye on. Again, keeping Sarah's the Pros Closet in mind, they have a couple riders to be watching. Anna Russell's always going to be one of them. So, with full disclosure, Anna and Nathan spent a fair amount of time poking fun at each other because they work together a lot. Anna is one of our commentators for exactly this style of racing. She handles the APAC with Kate Bates, who will be with us later today as we cover the America's West. So, they're bringing Anna back into the group. We're going to start the sprint pretty early here, Nathan. We've separated the wheat from the chaff at this point. So this high quality front group.
It's great thinking the leg snapper is nothing but a threshing floor. So
Exactly. Right.
just
Now
taking
we bale them. Yeah. That's
Now
what a
we bale
combine
them.
does, right? Threshes and bales, I think.
Threshes and bales, and then you're gonna get sewn together into a compact piece of thing. Never mind. I'm leaving that whole. That
We see a
analogy's
sprint,
falling
Nathan.
apart. Let's
Do we
think that
see a
that
sprint at
analogy's
the end of this
completely
race?
falling apart at this point. So I'm gonna leave
Well,
that one alone.
and again, we get in trouble anytime we talk about livestock or farming. That's for sure.
Yes,
Do
yeah.
we see
We'll
a
leave it alone.
sprint at the end of this race, Nathan, or is our winner alone? Is someone going to channel their inner Catherine Curie out here and be able to put together a next level ride and get more than a couple seconds at the finish, or do we have a
You know
couple
who's on
riders
my
together
radar? My
today?
radar is Megan Rathwell. Honestly, we're gonna see what happens.
Call.
I have not. I'm gonna be
Sprint up,
totally.
sprint up.
I have not looked at Zwift Power. Full honesty, I have not looked at Zwift Power when it comes to Monks. Here we go. Gonna take another one. She's really showing it here with the
She's a
finesse
star.
rockets. Doing an amazing job. Takes it down. Cameron second
So
there.
Claire got
Solid
up there
sprint.
for second.
But you know, Megan, and this is just going off of what I've seen from her recently. Whenever it goes uphill, as well as like this solid FTP and these attacks, I just feel like Megan has had a recent boost in fitness. She's been focused. She's been training, and we'll see. It's simply off of feel from what I've seen in the racing in the start, the first 2 weeks of this
Sure.
season. I think Rathwell. That's what I'm calling. Not off of numbers or anything like that. I'm gonna leave Zwift Power alone. I'm not gonna go look at 20 minutes or anything like that. That's what I'm going on. And she's gonna try and make a move to break people. That's what I think is gonna happen there. Now, whether or not some of these others, Cryogen, Gallopin, Egowatt, are they saving? Do they got the numbers to follow? She might not be able to break them all, but I think she's gonna try and do it.
You see why this is my favorite race of the day, Nathan? Every single time with these women. And I'm talking men or women. This particular America's East always brings the drama, incredible efforts. We've already had a heartbreaker out here today. We've seen an exceptional performance, some breakthrough rides as well. Now we get to find out who is the best climber in this group of women. And to tell you the truth, coming out of this group, I'll put them up against any group in the world when we talk about America's East. So these are the gladiators of Zwift that we've got in front of us. Sarah's the Pros Closet. They tried to, well, they lit the fuse, but it didn't explode and we've been waiting. It's been a slow burn.
They lit the
Now we
fuse
should
and the
make our way.
trainer came straight off the bike. I mean, it was just too much
Fell off the
power.
trainer.
It's too much
Yeah.
power from their sprinter
It-
Grossman. Now we're jumping in here though, real quickly here. I just want to highlight that the men's race on the Division 3As are starting their second climb over the top. It looks like Messier here is going to be leading things out. We'll get an idea of where things stand also with the current standings amongst the men's crowd here, as well as their points in just a second. But
Yo-
it is going
see
to be
young
Lambie
Will
still in here.
Bobrow.
Next is in there. Go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, out of Louisville, Kentucky, when the cyclocross world championships were here in the United States, Will was one of the young riders who, it's always interesting how does a young American get into cycling, and Will has gone on. It's nice to see him jumping in. This is a very diverse group that we have a lot of talent in this field. And Nathan, that leg snapper didn't do all that much damage, did it? They've got another sprint coming up when you're looking at the men. They're down here right in the middle of it on the Innsbruck Ring here, this 8.8 kilometer circuit that they have, that leg snapper. Now they're on the backside as they make the fall from the wall here, and then that sprint before they'll begin another lap here. They got a bunch of power-ups out here today. People wondering about that. The helmet, the feather, and the van. Those are really, I guess, the accepted in racing. Those are the ones that certainly make the most sense. An anvil would never come into. The only way you could use an anvil if they let you hand it to someone else out here. That might be useful because no one would ever, there'd be no real. This would have been the sector right there where they would have used it. That's the only time on course.
Yeah,
where an anvil would be
maybe an anvil on the
you hand
downhill of the
off.
leg snapper. That could be a section on the
Yeah,
downhill
I
of the
guess.
leg snapper.
Right. That is
So,
Ashton Lambie up here. That's good to see. As we're with Griffin right now, he's going to deploy that helmet there. So that's all about aerodynamics, lowering the drag coefficient by 25%. You can see it's 15 seconds, and he used it perfectly.
CCNS there. It's going to be Huseman came across the line first. Almost was nipped at the line by Duval, but
I don't
Duval
know.
unable to pull that off there. Second place for him.
Points. It's the name of the game, and not just for you. You have to have some strong teammates with you if you want to end up on the top of the table here. As we take a look at how this league works, we're into the third race. We have a few team time trials, and what we're doing here, this kind of hybrid scratch points race, because you just saw another distribution of points back there a moment ago. Zach Neer's having quite a ride today, isn't he? The American here right in this front group again. You see every time after that sprint, Nathan, a gap opening up behind the guys who are contesting.
Which tells me that the leg snapper is really putting people into the hurt locker, actually. And then with that second kick to the sprint, people not really floating very well and moving their way backwards. Losing wheels, nobody wants to close it down. You think somebody else is going to do it. Next thing you know, there's a gap. Looks like they're going to bring it back together. One more time over the leg snapper. One more sprint for this group here. We are looking at Division 3, 1A here now at this point. And is next, I think, that is dominating most of this at this point. We do not have any of the sprint points up just yet, from what I can see. I'm being told the preems are working. I'm going to double check here and see if you've got a new up.
I love the way a team like Next races, Nathan. They animate and dictate things. They don't play the passive role where they sit back. They make the race, much like the exciting racing we're seeing on the women's side of things. It's so much more fun to watch than everybody playing coy. We talked about on the climbs how reluctant in some of the races today riders were to make a huge effort, because the danger is when you blow up, there's so little to gain, yet so much to lose in a lot of cases when you talk about the point structure that we have for the finale. Getting back to that very quickly here. So we have all of the sprint points, and you've been seeing those. There's also some fastest timed segments. This is a wrinkle that WTRL has brought into the fold here. And so that comes into play as well. There's a KOM. So there's a possibility that the man who wins this race will not only take the top points there, that's 40 points for the win, 35 for second, 30 for third. You can see how there's a lot of points on top, but then it starts to stack up like cordwood, fourth, fifth, sixth. There's only really 1 point difference when you get from fifth down. So that makes things pretty, when you look at it, unless you're getting on the podium, if you're sitting in a group that's going to contain between fifth and 10th, Nathan, you just need to make sure you stay in that group. The points variation is not that much between the first to the last rider in that group. So just don't get dropped out of that group and find yourself in another one where you're fighting for superiority. Okay, we can take a deep breath for a moment because we're about to move into the final phase. It's 37.2 kilometers of racing. The final climb is 7.5K, but it starts right kind of when you go past the freeway there or the highway. About really 8.5K out is when you start to climb. But the real climbing, when we kind of take that mark of the 5.5% average, that begins at 7.5K to go. And for the women, that's not all that far out. These guys have got another lap here in Innsbruck Ring they're on.
All right, so we're going to jump on in with Anna and the rest of the crew here. There's her Twitch stream on the right-hand side there. You see her communicating a little bit with the rest of the crowd. She's giving orders, it looks like here, Anna Russell, live streaming
Giving
over
orders.
on Twitch right now. Make sure to go check her out. Give her some support as she puts in a huge amount of effort there, and probably is pretty entertaining to watch. I don't know if she's going to have her mic open. That'd be interesting to see, actually, if she's getting stream sniped perhaps a little bit there. As I said, though, Rathwell, look, toward the front immediately, 5.3 watts per kilogram coming from Rathwell. Go ahead and take a look here at the situation directly, how it's playing out as the climb is about to start, and then we'll get Anna here in the live view as well. But Rathwell now 5.6. Maybe get her pepper things instead. It's interesting she's going maybe to the front so early. Maybe I was incorrect that it's going to be Anna, that's going to be Megan Rathwell. That's actually the main, contender here for Sarsa Pro's Closet. Or maybe she just wants to do something bottom to top, or she's setting up Cameron for something, because really it's a little ways from here before you really want to make something happen. But right away, 5.6 continues right on.
Buckle up, buttercups. This is it. We are locked and loaded. This is not a drill. As the riders realize this, Nathan, the race is on for the women. Let's take a listen to Anna Russell out of New Zealand, professional triathlete, mom of two, Zwift Community Live commentator. You go, Anna.
Yeah, no audio, and I think that's on
No
purpose
sound?
because
Okay.
she is directing. So I think that's completely on purpose there, unless I perhaps just have it turned down
I
too
think
much.
makes sense.
That could also be the reality, is that it's just turned down a little bit too much for anything to come through. Gonna double check here. No, I think that the reality of it is that there just is no audio, and that's on purpose in order to not get stream sniped when it comes to what they're trying to do here. Holding on tight, though, 172 beats per minute. Her teammate on the front just following wheels, and I think she might have to just let that go, as Megan, like we said, there it is, making the moves here.
Someone earlier today was asking, do you get drops when you're racing? That answers that for you right there, as you could see Anna pouring them on. Let's get back. So Megan Rathwell, another star here. This is going to be interesting. There's going to be the ebb and the flow here. I don't know that we're going to see the decisive race-winning attack until we get inside the final K here, Nathan, as there's plenty of riders that have experience and aren't going to get, what would the word be, suckered into blowing themselves up early here, right? Experience will be huge. You absolutely, and that's going to be, you see the Fretter there, Tara Fretter out of Ohio, Finesse Rockets. She's ridden Tour of the Gila. She's ridden Redlands. She definitely knows her body and what she can do. That's going to be key. It looks like a 4-rider group starting to come together here on the front.
4 left at this point
so
after Megan's initial attack
Bolt.
there. And Megan is not pulling any punches, which is interesting to hear. It's kind of like just putting a flurry on rather than, I mean, this is right from the get-go, 6% gradient saying, look, just follow me. I don't care what you're doing. And
Let's do this.
It's not even, even it's kind of caution to the wind kind of riding at the front. Like, this is my tempo, and if you can follow, good luck. Go ahead and go for it, because a lot of times through here, it's like hit the gradients that are sharp, the orange, the red gradients, and then back off a little bit and sit on someone's wheel. But it looks like she's just saying, no, I am going to take the bull by the horns and take over this race.
And as a team sport here, this is huge for the Finesse Rockets. This is the name of the game. They've got at worst third and fourth, but it could easily be first and second. And they are right now winning the battle of race 3 of season 2 here for the women. And that is, Nathan, at the end of the day, there's so much to talk about with bonus sprints and fastest time segments and who wins the race as an individual. But it's a team sport. And so right now, you start wondering what's happening behind this group as well, as we've got a tremendous race. They've got a long way to go. We might see this group getting split. Freder's going to sit. Yeah, no problem here. Everybody in this group deserves to be here. They know what they're doing. The task at hand is pretty clear. There's not going to be too many surprises at this point. You've either got it or you don't on a climb like this. Again, we're talking about a 5.5% average grade, but it swings pretty wildly. A lot of time here at 7, 8, but it'll drop down to 2, 3% grade for a while. So in no way is this a steady climb. A little bit harder to find your rhythm out here. And this is going to be cryogen. I was expecting Brady to be really good today. Who is ML? We'll figure this out.
Yeah, Brady is here. Coming back to the group, actually. Interesting enough to
And
see.
is
4.6,
yeah.
keeping it
So
steady.
she's, as I said, I'm really proud of her. That's a rider riding their own pace, right, Nathan? Isn't that fantastic right there? She's not out of it in any way, shape, or form. Here comes Alana Brady. ML. Molly L. Sorry, Nathan. I'm trying to figure out who the other rider there was for cryo. Molly is who we've got there.
Oh, was that
Okay.
dropout
Very exciting.
perhaps there? That would be too bad to see. We see Christina Grossman still out on course. It looks like she's going to finish
Aw.
things up, maybe be able to grab some points still. She's within the top 30, or at least steady to the top. Most likely also getting some messages like, get the training in. This is a day that still matters
No.
out on the bike. It's great to see that she's out here hammering away. I did see her coach, Josh Lipka, in the chat there with some crying eyes, and too bad for KG out
I
there.
saw that too.
And and probably just a huge dagger to the heart between both of them as they work so incredibly hard to get her ready and prepped, obviously. So, but Christina, great job finishing up there. It looks like she's going to, um, you know, stick to her guns here, get to the top. She's got riders she can catch. There's rabbits to chase out there. And with the level of rider that she's currently in 60th, I think she could take down half the pack still.
Christina is a high-level record executive at Republic Records, who are the absolute leaders in their category. She didn't get to where she is in life by giving up or quitting things. So if there was ever a woman that has a heart of a lion, that would be Christina Grossman for sure. I'd have to say, there's esports specialist coaches now. Josh Lipka is a perfect example of that, Nathan. If this is something that you love, the specifics of e-racing are a little bit different or a lot different than any other kind of cycling. And you want someone who understands that. This is going to be Megan Rathwell. She understands putting people in the hurt locker, but she's unable to break them here. The two riders from Finesse Rockets having an absolutely tremendous day, Bolt and Freder, hanging right in there. And at some point, they're going to start taking it to Rathwell. And I think that point has arrived, Nathan. Here we go. Moving into the final 4K of this climb, about 5.5% average gradient here. And it looks like the Finesse Rockets are going to start now moving in for the surgical kill. The women in blue making their mark. They've officially arrived as one of the top community teams in the ZRL now. No doubt about it.
2v2 is what we have happening here. 2v2 here. It's got Sarah Sapol's closet there with her own. It's going to be Rathwell. Rathwell, really the one who instigated this whole thing. Now Rocket said, okay, put us on the back foot perhaps a little bit. No, we were biding our time, and now we're going to counter exactly what was going on there. And Freder now says, I'm the one who's going to take over at the front. It looks like Bolt here, though, trying to follow. No, Rathwell jumps right onto the wheel of Cole. Now Cole trying to continue on at 5.7, but Rathwell stuck to her wheel. Now it's woman versus woman, I think, with these two showing that they really are the cream of the crop when it comes to this pack here. And it's going to be 6 watts per kilogram. And again, Rathwell getting back to the wheel. And I think Rathwell, she might start playing it smart now at this point. She might start saying, okay, we've made the separation we've looked for now. Now it's me versus you. And now the games begin.
So this is bike racing at its very best. I mean, so there's a new movie coming out in the US, Godzilla versus King Kong, I guess worldwide probably. This is what you got here. The two best teams in the community having at it. That has split now. So it's going to be Rathwell and Freder, the two on the front here. Megan Rathwell, Sarah's the pros closet. That's the yellow and green blue jersey of Tara Freder. And if they start looking at each other even a little bit, they've got to each have a teammate right behind them. So a new rider to us, Perron, out of Quebec, Montreal, Quebec, Canada. Welcome to the big time. As clearly, I'm seeing a few people mentioning in the chats that this is a rider to watch. She takes it to the local group rides, man or a woman. She is ruthless. So she's in that second group right now. Rathwell holding onto the wheel. Freder came in as a 4-star favorite. She's backing that up here. Again, at this point now, first, second, third, and fourth place points pretty clearly going to these four. But Nathan, the way that we distribute these points amongst these four will have a huge, huge impact on which team wins, because a first and a second is significantly more valuable than third and fourth points wise. 40 for first, 35 for second, 30 for third, and I believe 27 for fourth. I should look that table up, but it's something very close to that. So you can see the points drop off from 40 down to the high 20s really quickly.
Yeah, your top 10 here at this point, it is going to be Cameron Russell. So that's 2 Stars Pros Closet. Perron's there as well. That's 4. 5 with Rathwell here at the front. Vanessa Rockets then. And this is the top 2 tied currently at this point. It's going to be Cole, then it's going to be Bolt. Then we're seeing Crouch and Gallopin right in the middle of all of that. Vanessa Rockets with nobody else out there. And then you do see Egwat taking over the 11th, 12th, and 13th places currently at this point. So really, Vanessa on a back foot a little bit. They need to take the 1-2 spots to make up for the lacking of riders in the top 10 compared to Stars Pros Closet right now. So can Paige make it back? I see Joel Carroll in chat right now saying, come on, let's go. Also coming in with some Freder there. Obviously, Joel cheering on the teammates here and wanting the Rockets here to dominate. But they're going to have to pull something magical here, because I think Stars Pros Closet, they've got the numbers, and Rathwell's playing it pretty smart at this point after those initial attacks, backing off and maybe coming back within herself.
It's not just the team time trials that you need depth in your team, Nathan. Really good catch there, as it's going to come down to your third rider's points that probably going to be the decision maker out here, as it might even be the fourth rider's points out here today. And good on Christina Grossman for continuing to slug it out. She gets off her bike, gets it back on that trainer, and starts racing again. That's what it takes. So here we go. This now is 3K to go. We watched
points. If Grossman still gets points on the day, that's the ride of the day.
Hero.
That's the ride of the day.
Absolutely.
That's the challenge at this point. And maybe she'll hate me for it right now, but maybe he'll love me for it later. That I'm like, go get some points still, because even if she doesn't, it'll be the best workout of her life, chasing everybody down that you possibly can to try and look for a few points on the day. So we'll see what happens. Rathwell get a little bit of a gap. This is the sections we were talking about. As it flattens out, if you punch for a little bit of speed, it forces a lot of effort out of somebody who's already at the limit. Looks like she forced Freder to try and pull something here, or at least pull back something here, back on terms, and now it's going to go uphill
Nathan,
again.
If you've raced in your for a few years, you really start to realize that not every win is the same. That goes without saying, but it's the quality of the course that you're racing on. That's one metric. And the quality of the competition is the other that make it special. And winning here, whether you're Megan Rathwell or Tara Freder, if you win this race today, it speaks volumes of character either way for these women. They're racing their hearts out here. But this is why we do it. This is not an exercise contest. This is tactical warfare with your legs here. It's all on the up and up. We're going to find out who the strongest woman is. Megan Rathwell is absolutely impressing me with these surges. She's trying to break Freder here. She's trying to send a message to Freder, and Freder is trying to, is showing that I'm not going anywhere. She latches onto this rear wheel here of Sarah's the Pros Closet's Megan Rathwell. You want a bike race, folks? You have got a beauty in front of you. And there's going to be, in this one package of one bike race, Nathan, there's 10 different races going on that will all determine the points that find the top team for us today. And as I say that, the guys are hightailing it here. They're already on the bottom part of the climb now.
Yeah, we just got the Division 1A men making their way onto the climb, and this is a rider I would definitely be watching out for this. We'll be here just for a second. I'll jump right back in with Megan and Freder, who are trying to make something happen for the final blows, but we're in the last round there. It looks like they're going for the full 10 rounds over the top of the Queen of the Mountain. Nobody able to break each other, but they're just starting their first couple of rounds here as Kieran Lewis starts in with an 8 watt per kilogram kick there, 192 beats per minute, and definitely somebody to watch out for. He won the time trial in the Tour de Oz just a few weeks back, and now kicked into 8 watts per kilogram. If there's somebody who's got a solid FTP, this is going to be it. And Lewis versus next and Cannondale, Jamison Cannondale, as well as team. We're seeing Cryo RDT in there, ATP, Jordan Rapp, his former colleague actually at Zwift. Interesting to see. And Rapp, I think he's got one of the best times up the Alpe to Zwift. So be on the watch out for Jordan maybe to pull something off here.
Well, what a select front group. So, the Zwift HQ Rockets, I believe, moved over to this league. I think they were racing in the West earlier. But either way, Kieran is going to be a big addition on the front as more riders now are ready to hit out for the finish line. We're going to see a big selection having here. I think more than a dozen riders, Nathan, are going to get their tickets punched with this next surge as it goes up to 9%. Oh, man, they're going nuclear powered on the front of this bike race right now, and that is going to break the will of a few of these riders. This is what separates. So Jordan Rapp has moved all the way up to the front. That was a great catch, Nathan. Certainly a good indicator. If you can do it on Alpe Zwift, you're going to love what you got in front of you now. So the name of the game in professional cycling is helping everyone else finish what they've got on their plate before you start on yours. And the guys that have kept their TSS or their Zwift efficiency high or their TSS low are going to try to take advantage of that as we move into the final phase of this race. Okay, Nathan, here we go. It's an absolute Donnybrook here on the Innsbruck KOM after party.
Oh, interesting to see. I saw Carl in there. I think Caleb. I believe that was Caleb Carl riding maybe as a guest rider across two different teams. That would be interesting to find out here. Let's go ahead and jump back in with the women though. They're on their final kick. This is the last little punch, and this is where the last move can really be made. We saw in the women's race yesterday in the Premier Division, this is where Kolchinsky made her move, was able to break the other riders, but they came back on the flat, and then it was a sprint to the line. If Rathwell or Freder is not able to break the other, and I have a feeling it's going to be Rathwell that's going to try and break Freder actually through these punchier sections.
Now.
There's actually one more. There's actually one more. It does level out a little bit here through this town, and then there's one more punch before it flattens out. I think Rathwell does not want to come to the line with Cole Freder. I might be incorrect about that. I just feel like she's a little bit more of a climber and wants to really punch over this last section and try and break her. We'll see what can happen because it does look like there's a little bit of struggle at 188 here. It's got to be an all-in effort, though, for Megan.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I don't know. So knowing and being able to do are two completely different things. I'll be honest, Freder is a stone cold killer in this situation. She knows exactly what she's doing. She's got the right tools to work with. In all honesty, I think that Tara right now has got this one where she wants it. Megan Rathwell has done a tremendous job, but it's only a matter of time. And there it is. She's launching. So she entered the launch code. It was accepted, and she's going to say bye-bye. I have to believe that she knows that she's got the resources to back this one up. And Tara, you are phenomenal. You're my hero. Great job, kid. That was the big body blow that I knew it was coming. Yeah, she was able to just hang there with Megan Rathwell, and she is gone. Tara Freder, that is outstanding. That is something else.
Absolutely amazing here right now.
You don't see that. You just don't see that.
No, that's a huge move here coming in from Tara Cole Freder right now. And level 17 Zwifter, but this is somebody who's very familiar with the reality of UCI level racing here. Hagens Berman here. Tour of Gila, you were saying, weren't you there?
Yeah. Yep, she lived in Silver City for a while too. That's how committed she was to her craft. Before she was a mom, her husband Jonathan is a professional racer. He did Tour of California, rode for the Jelly Belly team amongst many, but they were completely committed. Then they moved to Rwanda, Africa for a year, where they worked with aspiring African cyclists, and then came back and started their family in Ohio. So yeah, she's a really interesting, cool person, and this is great to see her racing level 17. That's a freshly minted Zwifter, right? I'm 28, so clearly the level Zwifter you are doesn't have anything to do with talent.
There's the arrow power up, not needed. A little bit of icing on the cake, so
That's
there's not
just
quite as
salt
many
in the wound.
watts
Yeah,
needed there as Megan now at this point is really thinking about cryogen on the chase. She's going to be able to hold things off, but this is your winner on the
a lot of
day,
Brady,
Tara
right?
Cole Freder. And Finesse Rockets is what they had to do. They had to take this down because they cannot stack the top 10 in the same way as Stars to Pros Closet. It might not shut down the amount of points that Stars to Pros Closet will get in comparison, but at least take some of the sting out of it here. We'll see how it plays out. They still have Paige Bolt here that needs to beat out Perone. Megan Rathwell here. It'll be interesting to see how this plays out because if Finesse Rockets here coming to the line are able to beat out Perone, but it doesn't look like. I think Paige Bolt did fade a little bit here. So second place here to Rathwell. Perone there is going to be third place. This is a lot of points for Sasha Pose Closet. They're stacking it where they need to.
Yeah, so
But
good
Finesse
for them.
Rockets, they do take it across the line for the scratch race.
Yeah, so this is what we're talking about, all these points, and remembering that we had a lot of points distributed
Yeah,
at the
good point.
sprints
So on the
earlier.
sprints, I think Finesse were leading on the sprints, though. I think because they lost
Well, that
Grossman, and
was
that
the
was a
gross
huge
conundrum.
loss. A
Right,
huge loss
right.
for Stars
With
Pros Closet. This might really
that,
even out at the end of the day, Dave.
I'm glad I'm not the person doing the math because it might come down to a point or two when you look at it. That's a fantastic point. So this is going to be Bolt finishing now. So these are important points, a lot of important points for Finesse Rockets here. We already know that they had the win, but then we've seen a couple of the Saris Pros Closet riders finishing. So lot to talk about. Nathan, you see what I'm saying? You see why I love this particular race so much? It's just awesome. Absolutely awesome every time. Just doesn't disappoint.
I'm gonna see if we
Now that
have
I've
some
said
like
that,
super suffer cam here coming in just a second here from Anna,
oh boy.
and I want to know if she's got her headband on too. She better have the headband on, going
I
full
saw she
Jane
ordered
Fonda
a bunch
style. Oh yeah,
online.
she's got the headband on. She's getting to the line here. It's 2 seconds up. She's not gonna be catching though, but great effort here coming in from Anna, and I think they've done everything they could on the day. I really think that they have laid it all on the line here. What I want to
And
see
they
is
might win.
they may
Just
pull it
because
off
Tara
here.
won the race. Yeah, you got to remember that always. It's not just the first over the line here.
Looking back a little ways, back to 41st place here. Grossman steadily, she's made up 11 places. Lot of time though up ahead here at this point. So we'll see how things end up playing out. Let's
But
go ahead and head
again,
back on over to the men though, as they are finishing up their climb for the this is gonna be Division 1 that we're gonna be looking at, and then we'll be jumping in with Division 3 in just a moment as they finish up their race.
the Australian Rocket, Kieran Lewis there with the Zwift HQ team. Who's he got with him here? Barrett and Livingston?
Raka Tabalong is here as well. A little bit of a gap back here, it looks like, to Baldwin. And then it's going to be Cryogen getting back on terms, though. Up ahead, though,
Rested
it's going to be Levinson, Jameson, Cannondale hammering away off the
on that.
front.
Jumping around. If you wanted to be on Zwift Power, you could do the same here and take a look at the riders that we have. Again, this is the men's A that we're looking at, and they are about a 1.5K, 1.4K from the finish right now. It's been a real slugfest, but this is quite an advantage. A 14-second lead our solo leader has right now, and does not look to be, in control, I would say, Nathan. You can see those watts per kilo for all the riders right there is, 6.57 watts per kilo right now. Chaser's a little bit lower, but this one's got some legs to it.
Yeah, it does look like he's got a solid gap at the 14 seconds. So what the question is going to be whether or not I can hold it down. I think this is plenty to work with. It's just whether or not he blows up at
This
this
is pretty
point.
good shape. Yeah, it's never over till it's over. I completely realize that. You see major changes late in the race, but Nathan, I think this might be good to go here for Levinson, the Jameson Cannondale rider. He's not taking on water at all right now. As a matter of fact, it's continuing to go his way. So we're at 1K to go. The Flamme Rouge, the red kite, would have just been passed by now. Flattens out a bit here as well. A little bit of a reprieve as it's down to 4% grade, 4 feet forward for every 400, or excuse me, 4 feet up for every. That'd be horrible the other way. That'd be a wall, actually. But the grade starts to pitch up now for one final time. It does get pretty steep here for a bit.
Jumping back in with the men's Division 3A, Griffin from next, Crabtree, Sultan, Miller. This is a little bit more interesting as far as the pack dynamics go. Nobody off the front at this point. They're kind of playing some games a little bit more here, I think. Nobody really
So
wanted
this
to
is a
risk
separate
it.
race. Right,
Separate
exactly.
race,
For people,
A
right? Still
Division
same level. Yep.
3A, same level, America's East. We're just looking at America's East Division 1A. The difference there being, as you rank yourself up in the Zwift ranking league, you get put into higher and higher divisions. Division 1A is the one from which, in each one of the regions, from which you can get access to the Premier Division. That's where the knockouts will be happening to try and get into that Premier Division, top level, what would be called the pro racing in the virtual cycling world. Griffin here now toward the front. This is going to be the Division 3 then. And the riders here in this division then will be fighting to be upgraded to divisions that are higher, comparing the results then. And I would think that a lot of these maybe even going to skip up into Division 1, depending on how well the results go later on in the season into the Season 3.
So that was Kirkmeyer was one of the teams coming out from the EMEA, Europe, Middle East, and Africa. Help me out, Nathan. Who's the
Restart also
Restart?
jumped up.
There we
Yep,
go.
Restart
So,
also
so we had
jumping up.
Aeonian on the women's side. So these teams then get in-game kit, and yeah, it's one of the well thought out parts of the Zwift Racing League, the ability to be promoted up into the league. And so that's why it's always interesting. A team like Next is Zach Nair. I see his name is still in the conversation. Great job today, Zach. And again, thanks for your coverage of the WTRL. I know everyone appreciated that. So these are the riders in your front group, could be the stars of the future in the Premier League, as this climb tells you a lot. 2K to go, 2K of racing remaining.
Two different riders actually about to finish up their race. This is going to be the Honey Bears, I'm calling them now, because I just got some honey delivered to the house.
Oh, you got it from Jim Withers.
From Jim Withers,
from
for
our
the ATP team.
friend.
Yeah, they're
Yes,
powered
awesome.
by
Thank
honey,
you,
from
Jim.
what I'm told. He actually has his own bee farm. And then
Wasn't that
also
a
a solo
high,
rider off the front here. It's going to be from Jamison Cannondale then. Both that was the B category for the women we were just looking at with M. Kelly. And then E. Levinson here making their way to the line. Both of them going to finish around the same time here. So two separate races. B women, Kelly here, ATP Racing, hammering away off the front with a chase from Donna from Sisu Du. And then in the men's Division 3A, we have E. Levinson with Jameson now trying to be chased down by Cannondale Echelon. That's not going to be happening. And it looks like he's going to walk away with this one in the Division 1A right here.
Finished, hasn't he? 37.9K.
There's 300 meters to the line there.
I wonder how that. So, it's no worries. There is
he might have cut a couple corners. He might have gone wide around some of the. I'm not kidding.
Yeah, it's weird. I've seen different.
So if his avatar goes wide around the corners, it gives him the distance.
So this is your finish. As this is it. Congratulations. That's a lot of climbing. 657 meters. As this one is done and dusted. Levinson taking the win for Jameson Cannondale. Let's see how they do when we look at how all the teams scored here. Nice job, ATP.
Great job to her. Hummingbirds now. A little bit of a kick to the line from them. Looks like it's going to be the herd. And the herd's got hummingbirds too. Hummingbirds are usually pretty solo, I thought. But I'm liking it.
Or flock. I don't know. Yeah.
Good job there from Ash. Donna's trying to chase it down. Not going to be happening.
It's funny. I'm terrified to mention things about animals now, Nathan, because we're always wrong whatever we say. But I agree with you that I don't know of hummingbirds.
I don't think
being
hummingbirds
a flock type bird.
hang out with anybody. No, they just hang out by the flowers.
They seem very solitary. Yeah, they really do.
If they all got together,
like
they would just be flapping their wings like crazy, like these boys right now making their way to the line here. It looks like Tablon's going to take it down over Mullins and then Baldwin across the line.
I was going to ask Jim Withers. I should ask Jim Withers, actually, if there's such a thing as renegade bees that don't belong to a hive, right? That are just on their own, doing their own thing. Because I
know all kinds of renegade bees. I don't love that.
Yeah?
All the bees I know are renegades. They need to get.
I always thought you had to have a hive. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
they need to have a hive out of my house. That's what
yeah, please. Yes.
they need to have. They need to have a hive
Those
not
might
in
be
my house.
wasps. Don't eat that honey. They might be wasps. I'm not sure. So, well,
Griffin on the
ATP,
attack. Next, making it happen. Here we go. We
they are
said it was
phenomenal.
calm. It was a chess game early on in Division 3A. And now we see Griffin on the attack. CCNS trying to make it move. Nope, not going to happen. Near here, sitting in, allowing his teammate to go up the road.
So this we're looking at the chase organized now, and it looks like next is well, looks like they're having their day, Nathan here, because when you look at Taylor there, that's the one that makes you realize they're going to be awfully hard to beat. They're going to put 3 riders in the top 10. That, unless you have another team that does the same, and that would obviously change the conversation. But if you have one team that puts 3 in the top 10, that will do it.
Looking to see if
Talking
we can
about
get across
points,
to a
talking
few
about the day.
more of
Yep.
the categories here, but this is the category though that we're really focusing in on for the men's A here. And Griffin looks like next is going to put themselves on and you know early. This is a team that did pick up some very high quality riders. A lot of the next esports team, you know, they formed out of Relentless, Dissolving, and then you know you've got a couple of like Osicki and others that came over from there to jump into this next. A couple of
Can
their
you
other
imagine?
riders went to another, and I think there's this. You know, you get that reshuffling going on sometimes from season to season, and this reshuffle with Next, I think, is really a good landing spot for a lot of them. They put some good branding out there. They put a really great look when it comes to their team colors and how they're going to be kind of mascot themselves out there into the world. And I think Next is somebody to be watching out for next. I mean, that's really, I think, what they wanted to say here is like, we're the next ones out on scene. And Griffin's making a statement here about them.
I am forward you a picture that Tara sent of her with Madeline, her daughter, who she's holding right after the win. I hope you get that on your social channel there, Nathan. As it's quite a picture. It does a heart good. Thank you very much, Tara. Congratulations on a great ride. Next, can you imagine the moment when someone said, "Hey, I've got a friend named Ashton Lambie, pretty good track racer. He's interested in racing. Do you guys want him?" I'll go down as the greatest pickup in e-racing history, I would say, when you talk about the world champion, world record holder, and certainly one of the most intriguing riders. You know, you think back on the era of when cycling had that romance to it and a little bit of mystery and intrigue. Well, Ashton Lambie's got all of that. I'm so stoked he's racing. And here he is in Division 3 with this next team. This is his teammate now, as Griffin has got this one done and done, folks. That's a nice ride for next. Zach going to take the silver today if he can hold on here. Looks like he's got a couple seconds to work with. Sultan sitting at third. Duval as they bring it on home. Great job next. Fantastic work.
Great move, actually, here. Griffin's going to cross the line here, just ahead
There
of Near.
too.
Near's almost
Yeah.
catching his teammate, actually. Doing a good job to pull some solid points, 1 and 2. So next really dominating here on the King of the Mountain. Sultan now CBR. CCNS now going to be nope. T3 Philly with a kick to the line. And going to be a little bit upset there for the boys.
Well, this is certainly, it's a huge day of racing here as we are looking at America East here into the finale. This one was sweet. Thank you to all of the racers out there. It is so much fun to cover this herd of lemurs here as we've got T coming across the line with a good ride today. I love watching our C's finish up here.
See, women, 15-second gap over ATP. It looks like herd of lemurs there, ET. Nice job. And then it's going to be Sharf here, followed up by Veronique from Egawatt. Ashley Cameron, another streamer, actually be on the watch out for that ATP rider. Also artist out there, puts out some pretty cool, definitely somebody to follow over on Insta as well as over on Twitch. And solid ride coming in for her, I believe for 4th place. Brown, and then it's going to be T from Revo, Herd Margaritas. Margaritas are definitely not a pack animal, though. So, well, maybe they are. No, margaritas, they go together. I mean,
Um, you had Finney, the name there for the Otters won. Um, obviously, the Finney family here in where I am in Colorado. A lot of awesome memories with that family. With yeah, it's not only Taylor's dad, Davis, and obviously Taylor, who was nice to see out on the Alzheimer's ride the other day. Even I used to get my tires fixed by Taylor's grandpa, Nathan. He ran this thing called Western Sew Up Labs in Boulder, Colorado, where he would repair the Italian tires that we would race on back in the late 70s, early 80s.
And you guys worked
A lot
so
of
hard
history
to
there.
just race a bike there, sewing up tires, man. Amazing,
Yeah, I know. I
amazing.
know. It's amazing what it used to take, right?
I mean,
So here we go.
I thought I had a hard
See
time
Sun Art.
putting like putting
When I
tubeless
was thinking there's a
tires
lot of folks who
on.
are new to cycling. They're like, "Wait a second, you're telling me they had their tires sewn up?" It's like, "Yeah, oh yeah," and they did. Believe
I'm
me.
I'm
So,
thinking of
anyways,
gluing tires, and I thought I had a hard time. Like, oh
yeah.
boy. Wally
This
here to
sport's
the
the best.
line. This is awesome here.
Never
Teach how to
forget your
race like a
history.
girl.
They always say, "Never forget where you came from," Nathan. You know. So it's
We
funny.
got a
This race
battle
goes
here, real
so long.
quick. Over to the B's category. Actually, is this going to be Craig Taylor or is this Carly Taylor? I'm not positive. I'm going to try and double check over on the power because it is a mixed category. It's within the men here. Is Craig or Carly is going to be my question. I believe it's going to be Craig. I think it's going to be no. That's Carly. I think that's Carly. Yeah, no, of course it's with the Australian flag. Of course it's Carly Taylor. She just did amazing. I think she got her top 8 in the stage race over the weekend, actually,
Oh wow.
and now racing professionally again, back into the field, and now she's gonna win perhaps the B category in the Zwift Racing Mixed League here. Carly Taylor,
That
what a
history.
monster! Come on, sprinting
History.
to the line, taking Kramer down. Kramer's not going to say no. This is not happening. He's about to get checked, or
Well,
maybe not.
this
We'll
is
see.
yeah. Wow. Well, either way, this is awesome to watch. This is why this mixed category exists. And it looks like Kramer's going to attack her, the dastardly villain that he is. So, Carly Taylor, you are a legend, my friend. Taylor's going to get it done here in the last part of the climb, but let's note that ride. Put a gold star next to that one for the ZHQ
After
Rockets.
a full
Next
weekend of
level.
racing,
Badass.
too, top
Yeah.
level nationally in Australia, and then still comes to the line
Good
second
honor.
overall with this Queen of the Mountains here. Great job. Now the Dirty Ducks battling it out. Looks like he's going to take out his teammate here with B. Owens. And then it's going to be his teammate Bratton now with Lorman here a little ways behind for that 4th and 5th place.
Hope they catch that for World of Zwift, to tell you the truth. That was
I'm on
that
tomorrow
was a
morning for about community,
yeah,
so
so
maybe
good.
we'll bring this
I
up.
hope good. I hope that
Essentially, you just
I hope that you do, yeah.
told me to do that. Is what just happened.
In a
I like
subtle
it.
way,
Yeah,
right?
in a subtle way. Hey, how about you? I bet they.
What
I
I
bet
did
you.
is
I
I
hope they those people out there
the royal
that I'm in their ears right
the
now.
royal they. Yeah. But you know what I'm saying? I was saying, like, put a pin in that one because that was noteworthy right there. Sometimes history happens in a somewhat subtle way, right? That was very, very cool. And so this mixed category is something that I was a big advocate for. I know you were too. It's good to see, isn't it? The top women have such an interesting conundrum of finding quality racing sometimes. So
There's
I
somebody
love
with the name the Mad Targaryen in the women's D category.
it. So this is where the nerds will nail us because isn't that
Well,
a
do you know? Do you
Star
know what that
Trek
is?
or no
No, no,
Star
no, no,
Wars?
no, 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 no. It's a Game of
That's how
Thrones.
bad I am.
It's Game of
Game of Thrones.
Thrones. Yeah,
There you
it's
go.
100%
See,
Game of
Nathan,
Thrones.
again, so rather than pretend I was an expert on any of those things, Star Wars, Star Trek, or Game of Thrones, none of them are my focus. So I shouldn't have even chimed in.
We'll see if we
Left
can
that one
find the
just
Mad Targaryen. Mad Targaryen is flying at the front of here. Queen of the Dragons,
Game of
like
Thrones was a
killing it
little
right
much for
now.
me. Yeah, yeah,
Well,
that
I
was quite
mean,
a
oh,
show.
sorry, I don't even have it. We've got ATP here still on, but here's the Mad Targaryen, blazing bobcats and Queen of the Dragons. It looks like I don't
That's
know if
his
she's gonna have the
personal
fire
handle.
to
That's
the.
not a team. Yeah,
She's
he
gonna
goes by the Mad Targaryen.
she
Sorry. This
She,
was
yeah.
the Queen of Dragons,
The
right? Is
Queen of
that what we're
Dragons,
referencing?
yeah, the Queen of Dragons, the Mad
Right.
King was somebody different, but it's a
Her
descendant. We're getting
dad.
way too deep into this now
Yeah.
at this point.
Okay. We're
This
looking
is
at the
America's
lineage of Game of
broadcast,
Thrones characters.
America's
Yeah.
East and West broadcast after 24 hours of broadcasting. This is where Dave can take us and take Nathan at least into the depths of
Not where we want to go. Not
I
where we
don't know.
want to
That's
go.
kind of fun for a second there, but
It is.
all right.
Actually, it's always a good laugh. So I was just noting, Nathan, I'm getting all of my calendar alerts. The racing is so long today because this course, the hardest climb that we've ever had in the Zwift Racing League here with the After Party KOM, some of these races are going on for, an hour 15, hour 20 minutes out here. We're going to have America's West starting. By the time we wrap this one up, you're going to have time to get a cup of coffee and then get back to the computer because it's going to be a quick
Right
turnaround.
back at it. That's what's going to be happening
Yeah.
here, America's West. We're going to have Anna on with
No soup for you. No break for you, my friend. Kate Bates will bring some fresh energy. We
She
need to.
will.
Kate will
She will
get us
bring
right.
some
Yeah.
great energy to this broadcast and get us to.
She's back
be
from
quiet for a
vacation as
minute.
well. So, although I heard, I watched through Instagram. Her daughters are machines of. It's so fun to watch as they're right in their summertime down there in Australia. Did you see the tropical fruit stand that the Bates went to?
Yeah. I saw sunflowers. That's
They were
what I saw.
squishing kiwi fruits and making juice and doing the whole thing. Good living down there in Australia. So, okay, these riders are, they do have work ahead of them here, Nathan. It's not over yet. That's for sure. You're still at about a K and a half until you get to the line. We're in with the women's D's, the Mad Targaryen on the Blazing Bobcats. These ladies are going to have their own personal battle here. This is the front of the bike race. So Joy and Targaryen. I'll act like I think that's a last name.
It is a last name.
It's a world. It's a fictional world, right?
No, Targaryen is a last name. It's a line of
They were the
kings.
Targaryen family.
They were the
I thought it
Targaryens. Yeah, exactly.
King of
Yeah.
Targaryen or
And
whatever. Okay.
they were able
Again, I
to
didn't watch the
tame
show.
dragons. They were able to tame dragons, Dave. I mean,
Well, she found the eggs. I know that she found the dragon eggs in the fire. I saw that little clip snippet.
Oh, I like what chat's saying. Go ATP. Maybe we need to get back to saying go ATP
Let's talk
racing
honey.
here.
Yeah.
Let's talk honey here. Oh man.
Hey, gotta give Jim Withers credit though. You want to do it right. Jim didn't just send a thimble full of honey either. I got bears,
like 3
right?
bears of honey. Yeah, I should take
Yeah.
some pictures and put them
Yeah.
out there. I should have brought them to the
You
broadcast
should.
right
I'm gonna
now.
do that. Actually, I need to. I'm not. Jim must sell that honey as well because it's all labeled up and super professional looking. So clearly, he runs a first class outfit there in Flint, Michigan. I hope he knows that we're talking about him today. He's a super.
Oh, he's watching
super
for
part of
sure. You would think he would.
Yeah,
I mean,
good.
he loves the broadcast, and
It's his thing.
that's
He's
just where
like
it's
the
at.
main sponsor of ATP.
So
Don't they, the
Baker
bear?
here. Real quick, Dave. I want to jump in with
He's
the
diabetic.
men's C's team type 1 is happening right now with Baker off the front. The live is not updating very well here, but Baker, I'm trying to get some information here on Steve Baker of team type 1 A1CS. He's flying.
Yeah.
Team type 1 diabetic
This is
here.
awesome.
Level 31 Zwifter. He hangs out with some bears, actually. It looks like in his profile picture. It's great to see.
Well, let's be honest here. This guy is a superstar. So that D, Nathan, that means he's a type 1 diabetic, correct? As far as I know from the coding here, I know that that's what the team is all about. Yep. So F would be a friend riding for team type 1. D means you might be type 2, but I think type 1 diabetic. Look at these numbers. There are plenty of people who have no issue with diabetes at all who couldn't come close to doing what this. I mean, he's hitting 5 watts per kilo. He can see the arch. Hey, I tell you what, there's a lot of diabetic folks out there that have been using exercise to help conquer that. And between diet and exercise, you get that under control and it's limitless. And Mr. Baker, my hat is off to you. As a matter of fact, this goes down as my inspirational. This has been an incredible day, and particularly the last hour and a half here. This is special. Nice job, my friend. Done and done. 657 meters. Boom, boom. Out go the lights at the finish line, Nathan. Superstar.
Roswell, dirt. Now making the way to the line out of Canada. We got a dad with the baby bottle. Making it happen on the Tron bike, it looks like. Nice job to Croswell holding off ATP, perhaps. We'll see. Oh, mixed category looking like here. As we've got W. Lin throwing down for the ATP mixed men's team here. Clark as well. Grinch trying
How
to
about
throw it
them
down.
apples?
This is awesome to see. These
Grinch,
women
yeah.
mixing it up here with the boys.
This is why we did it. If you want to support women's sport, just go ahead and start letting them race. Just let them do
Yeah,
what they do.
Stephanie
And
Clark,
get it.
ATP Racing. And then it's going to be, I'm looking for Lynn here. And it's going to be Wendy Lynn. Wendy Lynn and Stephanie Clark hammering here, getting one of them on the podium. The other one's going to be taken fourth. Great job from the ATP crew. It's the honey bears.
That honey works. Yeah, that honey is special. Whew, what a race this was. So the C's wrapping it up. All right, Nathan, I'm just going to do it. I hate this sometimes, but ATP. What does that stand for again? Can you help me? That an acronym?
Yeah, no problem. For ATP Racing, we are saying that.
How
Oh,
do I not know that at this point, especially with everything Jim has done? I will figure that one out because it's this team is going to be one to watch. That's for sure. I bet you someone on one of the chats will let me know. This is Clark finishing up here.
Clark finishing up. Let's get back in with the Mad Queen.
Matt Targaryen.
Here we go. Targaryen here. This has been like
Oh, they're close.
suffer
They're
fest
getting
here
there.
for them. Joy
Yeah.
and the Blazing Bobcats trying to get to the line. And
They're throwing
really a
it down.
slugfest here at this point between these two.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
no
take a look
doubt.
here.
A lot of
I want to
fun.
get an idea quick of what the standings were between them as well, because that's going to give us an idea of what they're fighting for out here today. See if I can find some of that information for everybody, because this category, drafting dinos, Revo Kit Kats, herd of blistering bobcats were in third place at 33. The last we checked, so that was the current situation. So they're gonna get a good little kick here if oh, and this is gonna be both of them are, well, Blazing Bobcats and Blistering are two different teams actually.
But it's
So
herd of blistering bobcats or herd of blazing bobcats. This is where
well, no,
here
there's
we go.
two. That's what I'm
Oh, you
saying.
can
There's
see
two
bounding
separate
and
teams.
blistering.
There's
Oh,
Blazing
there's
and
three
Blistering there, Dave.
and bounding as
And the
well. So there's
Bounding.
three.
Oh,
Yeah.
I
Wow.
mean,
Huh?
it's
Lot of
this is
bobcats
more
in.
serious than the Hummingbird situation.
It is. I have real life experience with bobcats. They're incredibly cool. There's a lot of them all over the Western United States. So you could easily make three teams with the women that I've seen. Bobcats. They're all over the shop. It's good to see. By the time you get down to the D's, at this point now, the content, I will admit, is it's not the A material. That's for sure. Matt Targaryen's going to do it, Nathan.
This
Solo
is
attack.
a material though of watts being thrown down right now.
It is.
279, 4.5 watts per kilogram. The Mad Targaryen taking it down for the Blazing Bobcats. Great job for them because they were sitting in sixth overall coming in. This is going to be great points. The question is, where are the drafting dinos? Nowhere to be seen in this overall. Llama, stay there. That's a familiar name. The Llamas, no dramas now, trying to make their way to the line. Joy now going to be next. And then Lindsay from Llama Stay, third place across the line. Unless
Can I
Blistering
throw
can make
another
something
history
happen.
bomb? Another history bomb to throw at you, Nathan.
All right, here we go. We're sewing it up.
I think this is the first time Martin from WTRL would probably be able to, if anyone could correct me, he'd be the guy, or you for that matter. But we had the full 70-point sweep out here from one rider today. Tara, she ended up with the fastest across the line and the fastest segment on that
Wow.
KOM, along with winning the
Wow.
race, right? So did anyone else do that? They might have. To be fair, I haven't done the full research on that. So That's pretty classic Dave Toll to make a statement like, "Oh my God, no one's ever done it," but 4 people did today. But either way, um, um, yeah. But Tara, that was quite a ride. This
Quite a
was,
ride from Tara. Quite a ride from Tara.
yeah.
The question is, how did Cyrus end up pulling off? I'm gonna see if we
We'll
can get
see.
in
We'll see. Hang in there.
with the results here, everybody. Our abilities, as I said later in the broadcast, I said this during the EMEA. As we click around too much, we start to lose the ability to find people on course, and it starts to break down with some of the tools that we do have. So we're gonna go ahead and move ahead with our results. See how things ended up playing out on the day. Then we'll take a look at the standings, as we do have some riders finishing up. That's going to be Apogee Racing Full Send making his way to that team making his way to the line with C. Gary. It's actually the rider that helped us get on over to this course actually for us for the C's. Let's go ahead and take a look at how the women's results played out though, Dave.
Fantastic. There you go. Just talking about the ride of the week here. Tara Freder taking it. It's only 1:01:31 to get to the top, and she takes the gold. Megan Rathwell, wow, what a performance from the Canadian here. It's Jeannie Perron, the Quebecoise rider out of Montreal, takes the bronze medal. Then Molly for 4th, Paige Bolt for 5th. Alana Brady fights for 6th today. Angela Quick into 7th. Danielle Jossenet in 8th. Anna Russell takes 9th, and then Sarah Bishop rounds out the top 10. If we could have racing like that every time, this would be the most popular show on the internet, Nathan, because that was absolutely incredible. You are the gladiators of Zwift, ladies, no doubt about it. So that's America's East Division 1A that put on a show. How about the Bs, Nathan?
In the B category, Megan Kelly threw down 3.4 watts per kilogram at 108.35. Stevie Van Ice at 20 seconds back. Sarah Donath for 3rd. It's going to be Melinda Lehman for 4th. M.A. Huel, Watt Sisters there for 5th. Caroline Defour in 6th. It's going to be Marie Franco Sorrell in 7th. Christine Gould coming through for 8th. Katrina Kate Nees for 9th. And then Jillian Howland for 10th place. That is America's East Division 1B for the women.
Let's take a look at the C's here with Aaron T. on top of the table here, the Canadian. It's a Canada sandwich with Susan Scharf, the American, sitting in the silver spot. Veronique Fournier in 3rd. That's a bronze medal there. Ashley Cameron takes 4th today. Bridget Brown in 5th. Teresa Gallagher for 6th. Vicky Sue in 7th. Maureen Finney in 8th. Michelle Canada for 9th. And then that might be Kanyata, actually. Good job, Michelle. Let me know. I'd like to be correct. And Laura Wally, sees who I race like a girl, rounds out your top 10. You can see 3.0 watts per kilo. Go a little bit better than that with Aaron T at 3.1 for the win.
Let me just check here real quick. The D's just were coming through, so we might not have theirs yet. I'm going to reload the page and see what happens, but not quite yet. It is a little bit sluggish on that front. So let's go ahead and jump on in with the Division 3 A's, and it was Payne Griffin.
Zach Nair for 2nd. Danny Sultan 3rd here with boy, what a race this was. As you can see, it was really close at the finish. Marcus Duval ends up in 4th. Darren Pietro in 5th. William Crabtree for 6th. Then Spencer Miller finds his way to 7th. Still in the top 10. Lucas, good work. Look at Lucas Huseman in 8th. Alexis Lavoie in 9th. And then Imran Gassant in 10th. Racing with the South African flag there. Good job, guys. That's the 3 A's. Our friends from Next.
Coming on through with Matt Allen there in the B's for the Division 3, and then Ben Delaney. Ah, let's talk about Ben. Good to see
ironic.
Ben.
Yeah,
that's really funny that Ben is both racing.
That is really. We had a long conversation
Zach
about
is
that
also,
earlier.
and then Zach is also racing. So pretty cool to see. Obviously, they're really into the esports as well on all fronts here. So it's gonna be Cody Hardley coming through for 3rd place, and it's gonna be Matthias Rojas, followed up by Dan Anna Geider. I hope I got that right. Johnny Walker, followed up by Jean-Philippe Allais. Austin from Finesse, Joe DeSalvo, and then Matthew Keller. That is going to be your B category for Division 3 in America's East.
Ben is
And
an editor.
a whole
writer.
lot of people that need to finish still. So let's go ahead and jump on
Yeah.
into the Division 1A.
And nice to see Eric Levinson. That was quite a ride that Eric had. Look at that time, too, to get all through 3 laps of Innsbruck Ring and then the after party KOM in 53 minutes and 24 seconds. Well, takes a lot of watts to do that. Way to go, Eric. You're our platinum standard. Rowan Barrett, so a lot of folks cheering for the Canadian today. Rowan, we'll take note. You are a contender, my friend. Matis Siaka, taking from Poland there, taking third. Kieran Lewis, the Australian. Boy, this is quite an international mix here. Is Kieran Lewis of the ZHQ team taking fourth. Adil Tabalong in fifth. Charlie Mullins for sixth. R. Baldwin in at seventh. Connor Cam in eighth. Craig Luinstra in ninth. And then Caleb Carl CC rounding out the top 10 for East Division 1A, men's mixed.
In the B's, Shane Kramer comes on through with a 4.1 watts per kilogram at 101.24. Then Carly Taylor just sprinted at the line, a solid 4.3. Our long weekend of racing, mixing it up with the boys. Great job to Carly. Brian Owens coming in for third, followed up by Jacob Bratton. Then it's going to be Brian Demikas, followed up by Peter Lohman for sixth. Stefan Lavoie for seventh, Brandon Hines for eighth, Chris Dorsey from WTRL in ninth, and then Brian Wynn rounding out the top 10 in the America's East Division 1B.
Looking at the C's, it's Steve Baker taking the win with Susan Crosswell of the Dirty Rascals Misfits. Susan, that's awesome. Taking second. It's going to be Wendy Lynn in third. Stephanie Clark in for fourth. The Grinch taking fifth. Kate Thravel working in sixth. Jim Walpole in seventh. Sully for eighth. Ryan Owang in ninth. And then Andrew Hayes rounds out your top 10. But Nathan, doesn't that top 10 for the C's here tell you that the mixed category is working? That's really cool to see.
Yeah, it's awesome. Really great to see, and I'm loving, absolutely loving that. In the D category, most likely going to have some time before those turn out. Now, here's the thing, everybody. We've got another broadcast about to start. Dave, it's starting in just about half an hour. Don't go anywhere. The America's West. Kate's going to be in my spot. Dave's going to stay right where he is. Well, maybe take a little bit of a break for a moment, but don't go anywhere, though. Well, go over to the broadcast that's scheduled if you're watching on YouTube. Stay right on that channel if you're hanging out on Twitch. The broadcast on Facebook will give you a live notification if you are there. And if you're on Twitter, well, just scroll your feed because that's what you do on Twitter. Appreciate everybody tuning in. If you need any more results, you want to know where the standings are at, head on over to WTRL.racing. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Hit those follow, subscribe buttons as well. And if you want to stick around for some more racing, West is up, and it's going to be some crazy action. And I think Kate and Dave are going to have a lot of fun with it. As always, everybody, thanks for tuning in. Right on.